Barry? Normally when you tell stories about your coworkers, it's because you left your job. Did you quit? Did you get fired? Don't worry, guys, I did not quit and I did not get fired. I simply asked everyone if they would be alright with it if I made a video about them, and most of them agreed. Now, if you don't know, I work at a company called Falcon Northwest. It's a local company and I build computers every day. I love it. It's the perfect job. Arcade machines in the break room, free lunch on Wednesdays, and sometimes free hardware upgrades for our own computers. It's a dream job, but we also have a lot of fun. Today I'm going to be telling you guys some Falcon Tales. So let's start from the beginning. The first day I worked there, I was being taught how to build computers. Now, of course, I already knew how to, but the company has certain ways they like to do cable management, so I was essentially learning that. Some of the guys started asking me questions about myself. What do you do for fun, Barry? Well, I like parkour, I'm a gamer, and I have a YouTube channel. Oh, a YouTube channel, huh? So you a Let's Player? Well, no, actually, I mostly talk about certain topics, my opinions on them, and things of that nature. I'm actually at 1,000 subscribers at the moment. Oh, so you're a vlogger. What? No, no, I'm not a vlogger. Dude, you totally vlog. Now I'm sitting there having this conversation with the guy teaching me when all of a sudden everyone in the room joins in, all calling me a vlogger, and for quite some time, every single time I uploaded a video, my instructor Mike, who subscribed to me, would always call out, "New vlog by Bulletbarry. Everything is person to person." They do that to me a lot too. If I ask for a screwdriver, they'll hand me one and then say, "Everything is screwdriver to screwdriver." I'd laugh and then hand it back and they'd say, "Screwdriver, a true service." But if you know me, I like to mess back. So it's still my first day and the YouTube thing is blown over a bit. One of them named Tim asked me, "So Barry, what specs do you have in your system?" "Specs?" I asked. "Yeah, like the hardware, graphics card and such." "Oh, no, I have a PS4. "Wait, you don't have a PC?" This is when I was trying very hard not to laugh and I said, "Yeah, see, consoles really are the way to go for gaming. PC just isn't powerful enough at the moment." Everyone stopped and looked at me with their mouths wide open, and Tim shouts out, "Why do you even work here?" This is when I turned to him and said, "Oh, I'm just working here till I can get a job at Sony or Microsoft." Everyone stayed so quiet. This is when I turned to them all and flashed the most evil smile I could. They all started dying. Call me a vlogger. Falcon Northwest is kind of a sausage fest, which could probably be expected. But with that, you have a lot of guys pent up in one room, and somehow, someway, I've become Felicity Smoke. You know how in Arrow there's that character named Felicity? She's smart, knows her way around a computer, but never seems to say the right thing. She's kinda socially awkward, and I've never been that way before. All of a sudden, working here, I've started saying stuff that I never actually mean to say. Let me give you a few examples. One day I was doing my job when Tim starts to scream. I walk over and see a spider in his tote. Apparently, he's a tad arachnophobic, so I grab the tote, take it outside and release the spider. I come back in and Tim is talking about how big the spider was. I look at him and said, "Tim, let me tell you a story. My brother is also arachnophobic. One day we had a spider in our house and he wouldn't kill it. He just kind of ignored it, and when I asked him, "Dev, why not just kill it or take it outside?" he always did that cool guy thing where he was like, No, it's fine, it's not bothering me." Well, it got close to him and he kind of flipped out. I killed it and flushed it down the toilet and said, "Dev, are you serious? It's just a spider." Looking back at me, David replies, "Barry, that thing was huge." To which I replied, "No, David, you're huge." Now, I was trying to finish the story when my coworker stopped me, laughing, and screamed out, "No, David, you're huge. Aww." And from then on, that was a thing, and still is to this day. If someone even mentions something's size, like, "Wow, that's a big computer," someone always blurts out, "No, David, you're huge." When I was first starting to work there, a conversation was brought up about World War II movies, mostly in the eyes of the Jews. Movies like The Diary of Anne Frank and Valkyrie. We were talking about those tear-jerking ones, and I mentioned The Pianist. Now, Tim, being the mature person he is, said, "Oh, you like Pianist, huh? You like that movie? Does that movie really jerk at your heartstrings?" I looked back at him and said, "Hey, come on now, that movie really touched me." Needless to say, that one caused some problems. I seriously have a ton of these. I tend to do this a lot, but a while ago, I was telling my coworkers that I planned on getting drunk for the first time with my buddy. Now, I've been 21 for almost a year, and I just never drank. Never had a reason to, but I wanted to try it out. One of my coworkers named Jarrett asked if I'd ever drank alcohol before, and this is what I said. Well, I mean, I've taken a sip, but I have yet to really get something in me. This is when Evan screams out, "Oh yeah, you do," and we all started laughing. Okay, let's take a break from the blunders for a second. I have more, but I have other stories I want to tell first. So I work next to a guy named Rasan. Great guy, and really everyone I work with is. Well, one day I was trying to provoke him a little bit. We were talking about how looks do indeed matter to a certain extent, and I wanted to see how far I could go with it, so I proposed this scenario. Let's say you're at a bar and you see this extremely beautiful girl there. You approach her, chat her up, and she invites you back to her place. You get there, end up in her room, and she takes her clothes off only to reveal the body of an 80-year-old woman. I mean, the girl's face is beautiful, and she is about 20 years old, but she's all scarred up. Loose, flabby tissue, looks like she has the body of an 80-year-old woman. What do? He looks at me and replies, "I leave." Now I started laughing and asked, "Well, how? You've been making out with her the whole ride over. You just get up and leave?" "Well, yeah." "Well, what do you say to her? You can't just realistically get up and leave, man. You gotta give a reason." "Bye." "No, that doesn't work. You need a reason." This is when I pushed him to the limit and he screams out, "I'm sorry, but your body makes me soft." I lost it. The other day I was talking to him and he was going on about how he's trying to build a computer for his friend. I guess his friend was in town for a few days and needed help putting a computer together. He had some of the components but needed Rasan to supply the rest of the parts and then put the thing together. Well, he was telling me this story as we were driving down the road, and he kind of gave a pause, signifying that I may contribute to the story or give input. But instead, I asked him, "Do you even know how to build a computer?" "What the Barry, are you retarded?" That one killed me, and I was driving. Alright, let's get back to my blunders. As I mentioned earlier, I work in a room full of guys, so the sex jokes are constant. Well, Evan was making sexual jokes at me, and I was trying to concentrate on a build that I had already built. The computer had an M2 SSD in it, but when I built it, the M2 drive wasn't there. So I had to take the whole PC apart to install it on the back of the motherboard. And the whole time I'm doing this, Evan is making sexual jokes. Well, he asked me if I'm the sort of person who's into bukkake, and says there are enough people in the room to help me out with that. Now, I was looking down into the build, and I was kind of stressed out, and I mumbled, "I don't know what bukkake is." He, kind of giggling to himself, asks, "What?" This is when I, fully annoyed, look up at him and scream out very loudly, "I don't know what bukkake is." I'm kind of thankful that none of the bosses were in the room, because that could have been really bad. So one day, I jumped into my car with Rasan, Timothy, and Mike. We were headed out to lunch, and we were driving into town when we came to a stoplight. On the corner, we see a homeless man in a wheelchair with a sign that says anything helps. I looked over and said, "Look at that guy I'm not going to be giving any of my money to." Everyone kind of laughs out of shock, and Rasan says, "Barry, that's really mean. The poor guy's homeless." Looking forward, I say, "Most of those people are faking it anyway to get free liquor. I'll bet you he doesn't even need that wheelchair." This is when, from the back of my car, Mike screams out, "Barry, he doesn't have a leg." Sure enough, I look again and the man is legless. I felt like a jerk. So we get some customers who order some really nice components. Well, I was building a PC when I noticed the motherboard was extremely sexy. I'm looking it over, kind of thinking out loud, and I say, "Man, this thing is gorgeous." Mike overhears me and asks, "What's up?" "Oh, this computer's just gonna be beautiful. I mean, look at that Mobo." He started dying. Speaking of Mobo, the other day we were matching songs to our names. Timothy always pairs my name with every song because, with a name like Barry, it fits literally everywhere, but the challenge was to get a song for each of us. We did a few for me, a couple for Mike, one for Timothy, when Rasan says, "I bet you can't get one for me." I thought for a second and then sang, "I'm not gonna write you a Rasan, 'cause you asked for it, 'cause you need one, Timothy." He started laughing when Mike turned around and said, Barry, stop. That's when I turned around and noticed he was working on a Tiki, which is one of our smaller computers, and he had a motherboard in his hand, so I replied, "Stop, wait a minute. Grab that Tiki, put a Mobo in it." That is one of the hardest times I've ever seen Mike laugh. And the last story. This one is easily one of the worst blunders I've ever done, at least as of right now. We were talking about a movie called Dude, Where's My Car? If you haven't seen it, it's one of the dumbest movies in existence and you're not missing much, but there's a scene in there where an alien woman turns giant and starts destroying this park. Well, a young boy in the movie looks up and says, "Daddy, I want to ride that one." The dad looks up and replies, "Me too, son, me too." Well, jokingly, I asked Mike how he would go about riding that ride, and he said, "I'd climb up inside her and wiggle around a bit, make her feel real good." I started laughing, and after a while, the conversation changed to, well, what if the woman had shrunken down instead of being super tall? How would you please a woman like that? A toothpick? Rasan looks at me with disgust in his eyes and says, Barry, you'd kill her. Okay, fine. What about those pipe cleaners? Those are soft enough, right? His disgust intensifies and he screams out, Barry, are you trying to kill her? That was when I looked at him and screamed back, okay, fine. What would you do with a little girl? The conversation was over. I have a lot of fun in my job. I love pretty much every aspect of it, and I could not have asked for better coworkers. Thanks to all of them for letting me tell these stories, and for all of you guys out there who dislike your job. Make it fun. Life is about being happy, and enjoying your job is huge.
No, David, you're huge.
Dev, you can't be in 2 videos in a row. That's just tacky. Bye, guys.